Welcome to Around Town, and we are absolutely delighted to welcome you with Doris Howington, the Executive Director, to the Wright Center. And I know many of you have read about it in the paper. A lot of people read often about the annual gala that you have, the wonderful event at the McCarter Center. We're going to be talking about that. But if you don't really know the nuts and bolts of the day-to-day wonderful work they do, we're here to tell you about it today, and nobody better than Doris. Doris, have you been here since the beginning, about 21 years ago?
I've been here since the beginning. February of next year will be 22 years. And the odd thing about it is I started out here in 1988, even before the building was renovated. I was doing part-time work with Visions, who was the parent company and developed the Wright Center. Doing part-time work for Angela Bryant and Valerie Betts, who are two of the co-founders. Sending out letters to raise the funds to renovate this building, which used to be Wright's Chick Shack. Oh,
and is that where the Wrights came from? Because I was going to ask you where the Wrights, so they
That's
kept
where
that
it came
name.
from. Okay. And Wright's, Angela's great-grandfather's name was Wright Parker. So this building back in the 30s, early 30s, late 30s, early 40s used to be Wright's Groceries. And I've seen pictures where it was a dirt road all around here. And we have those pictures here, so it's a very historical spot for this community.
On the corner of Raleigh Road and Paul Street. And it's white,
Raleigh
painted
Road.
white, Raleigh Road.
Grace
Street.
Grace Street.
Okay. And you've always been right, that was founded right here, and so the entire time you've been right here.
Yes. And in 1989, we had been fortunate enough to raise the $150,000 needed to renovate the building, which was a small drop in the bucket compared to what it is now. But I was responsible for completing the renovation with the contractors and getting the building cleared through the city, recruiting the first participants, hiring the first staff, getting the building licensed and all of that. And we started, our grand opening was in September of 1989. And we've been going strong ever since. In 1997, we independently incorporated. For the first few years, we were under the umbrella, the nonprofit umbrella of Visions. And then in 1997, we became independently incorporated, and we've been going strong ever since.
Well, and it was founded from the very beginning to be an adult daycare?
An adult day health care center. That's a combination center.
Okay.
Combination because we have the social model and the health model combined. It's a health model because we have staff that includes an RN and an LN and CNA staff.
Great.
And they're responsible for monitoring the health and well-being of all the participants here. There's certain things that they do weekly and monthly on a regular basis that will alert them to someone being sick or, just not feeling like their regular self. So we're able to let the doctors know, let the families know, and prevent a hospital stay.
Well, I noticed a little while ago one of your volunteers who had been here helping, performing a medical service. Tell us about that with the patients, or with the participants, you call them, right?
Yes, that volunteer was actually Dr. Travella Sellers Wilkins, who is one of our board members, and she is also a member of the North Carolina Foot and Ankle Associates here in Rocky Mount. She comes over quarterly and does a foot clinic for the participants, and this helps the families, the caregivers, in that they don't have to take a day off of work to take their loved ones for this appointment, because she comes to the Wright Center and performs the service. And those who have Medicaid, they use their Medicaid and they'll bill the minimal fee that they have to pay for the service, and helps the families out a great deal. And Dr. Sellers truly loves doing it.
Tell us about your board. Do you have a fairly large board of people who support the center?
Yes, right now we have a 14-member board, and we are actually a 21-member board, but we are lacking a few members, so we're always recruiting new board members for anyone who's interested in supporting such a nonprofit. Our board members are local and out of state. Our board chair is Louise Weeks Coggins, and she's been with Visions and the Wright Center for almost 30 years. And our co-chair is actually Attorney Lamont Wiggins. He's the vice chair of our board. And our board works very hard to assist the center when it comes to fundraising time. When I talk about fundraising, I'm speaking mainly about our annual gala, which this year is going to be on April the 23rd at the McCarter Fellowship Center here in Rocky Mount on North Glendale Avenue. Starts at 6 o'clock. Tickets are $35 and corporate sponsorships are available. All you have to do is call the center at 252-442-8363.
And there are items around that people donate to.
Yes.
Tell us about those.
Yes. Let me say first that our speaker this year is going to be Bill Leslie from WRAL.
Absolutely. And way to go. That's quite a coup to get him.
Yes, and he's also going to provide the entertainment.
Good.
Yes, yes.
Well, he has become, in fact, if any of you don't know, he plays the guitar and sings, has a beautiful voice,
yes,
loves kind of mountain Celtic songs and whatnot, so he'll just be fantastic. But way to go. And that's what day, the 23rd of April?
The 23rd of April, 2015.
How can people get tickets to that?
They can get tickets by calling the center here at 442-8363.
Great.
And right now they will probably be put on a waiting list because we don't do the actual printing until next year.
And that fundraiser is really important to the operational costs and all of the center, isn't it?
It is, because this year we received a big cut in our funding for Edgecombe County. We would cut 50% of our funding for Edgecombe County, which means that placed a larger burden on me and the board to raise the monies that are necessary to make sure that we don't have to cut our services. And we've been blessed thus far. We haven't had to cut any services, but the numbers are still out there, so the families still need to be served.
What's an example of some feedback you would get from a family who has one of their family members here?
One family said that the Wright Center is a blessing to them, that they can go to work and not worry about what's going on at home with a loved one, because they know that they're in an environment where they're being well taken care of.
They're safe, they're cared for. It's so obvious watching, and we're going to talk about your volunteer base in just a little bit and where you get those. But as we've walked around, we see happy people here. We see people interacting with each other. And I would think the socialization that you all provide with being among other people helps the quality of life tremendously for the participants,
Exactly. We're their home away from home. And there are some participants who, when for whatever reason they can't come to the center on a particular day that they're scheduled, I mean, the family tells us that they have a hard time, you know, with them at home that day because they want to be here at the center. And I can tell you, one of our participants, his family laughs at the fact that he was not coming to the center for a few days, and they really had a hard time with him that week because, you know, his regular schedule is the Wright Center. And even though he can't speak and he's partially blind, you know, coming to the Wright Center is part of his schedule. And when that doesn't help, you know, it doesn't help him when his routine is broken like that. So, but his family is grateful that he's still here and we're still serving him.
I'm certain that you would be just amazed if you sat down through those 21 years and counted the number of families that you have given the base back, quality of life, ability to work, ability to carry on with some of their normal functions while their loved one is here being well cared for.
Exactly. We could write a book.
You could write a book. Maybe that's going to be your next career. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to show an activity, the example of what you do, and then we're going to learn more about your volunteers and how people can help. Okay?
Okay. All right.
Stay with us.
Are you just starting out on your own and want to be independent? Do you have a family and need a bigger home? Are the kids moving out? And are you downsizing? First Carolina Realty can help. A 1 or 2 bedroom apartment or house for those starting out. A 3 or 4 bedroom home for a growing family. Rentals, sales, new homes, pre-owned homes, investment property in the city or in the country. Call First Carolina Realty. Now is a good time to make that move. Real estate prices are right, interest rates are low, and there is a fantastic selection of homes available.
First Carolina Realty is a fully licensed real estate firm with offices at 3151 Zebulon Road in Rocky Mount.
If you have rental properties and are tired of the headaches associated with managing them yourself, or if you're looking for a new management team to manage your rental properties, call First Carolina Realty at 252-985-2321. Visit our webpage at firstcarolinarealty.com. We will gladly help you with all your real estate needs.
Hi, I'm Jean Almond of Almond's Drugs, and I want to invite you to be Almond's customer for your prescriptions. Our average pharmacy wait for your prescription is only 10 to 15 minutes. We have drive-through windows at both locations. We will deliver your prescription free. Our friendly and very experienced pharmacists specialize in consultation, and we are locally owned and have been a loyal part of your community for over 70 years. Just make one phone call to us and we'll make the transfer so we can start taking care of you. Thank you for staying with us. We are at the Wright Center, and now Antoinette Wheeler, who is the program director,
Yes.
is going to show us how she interacts with the residents, one of the many wonderful things y'all do throughout the day.
Yes.
Let's take a look.
We're getting ready to talk about some food right now, some desserts. Barbara, can you tell me what your favorite dessert is?
Cake.
Cake? What kind of cake?
Coconut.
Coconut.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is pretty good.
Does it have a unique smell to it?
Yes.
It does?
Yes.
Do you eat it with your hands?
Eat
or
without, eat without, eat without.
eat with a fork?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you tell me can you describe how it tastes?
Cook, cake.
It's got cake. We got coconut. And
Delicious.
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 Miss Mary, can you tell me what your favorite dessert is?
Well, I do like pudding
Pudding? What kind of pudding?
Vanilla.
Vanilla?
and chocolate.
And chocolate. Okay. Can you tell me what it looks like? It's
Well, the
kind of
chocolate
gooey.
looks brown,
Brown.
dark brown,
Okay.
and the vanilla is kind of a yellowish white.
Okay. Now, do you eat it with your hands? Do you use a fork, spoon? Okay. How would you describe the taste?
Delicious.
Delicious. Miss Eliza, can you tell me what your favorite dessert is?
Pineapple coconut cake.
Pineapple coconut cake.
Ooh, that is good.
What does that look like?
Well, you cook your layers of cake, then you put your coconut on, then you put your pineapple on.
Okay.
And you beat the pineapple in a white of an egg, and it's turned out looking kind of white.
Okay. Does it have a unique smell?
Yes, smell like pineapple coconut.
Okay. Now, do you use your hands or a spoon or a fork to eat it?
According to how I'm feeling at the time. Sometimes fork, sometimes I use my finger.
Okay. Now, how would you describe the taste?
Delicious, to that pineapple coconut.
Okay. Miss Nanny, what's your favorite?
Potato pie.
Potato pies. And what color is your potato pie?
Orange, more orange, the orange type.
Okay.
I don't really call it pie or cut. I cut it pie, but
cut it like in a slice. That
Okay.
type of pie.
Now, would you,
Triangle.
now, would you eat it with your hands, or would you use a fork or a spoon?
I fork until I get down to the crust, and I take a.
Okay. Now, how would you describe the taste?
How did it taste?
Yes, ma'am.
Delicious.
Delicious. And Miss Lulu, what's your favorite? What's your favorite dessert?
Favorite dessert.
You don't have one? Okay. You like them all?
Doris, that type of interaction and stimulation, it's obvious they're enjoying it. She does, Miss Wheeler does such a good job with it.
Yes, yes.
You take care of the whole participant, right?
Yes,
If they have
yes.
meds, you give them their meds.
Yes.
You feed them nutritious meals.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And just from what time in the morning to what time in the evening are they here?
Okay, I'll give you a snapshot of a typical day at the Wright
Super.
Center. Okay, we open at 7, so our transportation is contracted through Tar River Transit. So transit arrives around 7 in the mornings with their first participants. Our food service coordinator, Ingrid Hospitalis, is here. She's preparing breakfast. They go in for their breakfast. After breakfast, then our senior health aides, we call them, who are usually CNA 1s or CNA 2s, will make sure that we follow our daily schedule, which includes toileting. So they have to go and make sure that everybody is ready for the first activity. The first thing that they do is they have an adapted chair exercise, and that gets them stimulated and going and gets those joints
What is that?
moving.
What do they sit?
Yes, they sit
Uh-huh.
in their chairs and they do exercises, leg exercises, arm exercises. And one other thing, when the weather's nice, they also take a walk around the park. So
good.
we try to just get them stimulated and keep them active a little bit. Next, they have current events, where we take the newspaper and we go through it and read the newspaper to them so they'll know what's happening in the community. After the current events, it's almost time for lunch. So Ingrid again is preparing a delicious hot lunch for them.
A hot lunch?
Hot lunch.
Wow.
We cook lunch here. And then they have about 30 minutes to an hour where they can relax and listen to music or take a nap. And then at 1 o'clock on Mondays and Wednesdays, they have music therapy on Mondays, and on Wednesdays we have a minister who comes in and does a musical program for them. You know, they sing along and everything. The activities also include arts and crafts, individual and group games. You know, the bingo. They love the bingo.
Right.
They love the bingo. And at 2:30, they get a snack. So everybody eats their snack at 2:30, and then they go back into the games, arts, crafts, or whatever scheduled for that day. And at 3 o'clock, the vans will come and start to take participants home. Some of our participants, their families transport them back and forth, so they may be here until 5 o'clock. But for most of our van riders, they are gone by 3:45. And that's a typical day.
And about how many people do you have here? And do you have capacity to take more if someone's watching thinking, golly, I could, or we're planting seeds for, you know, we never know when any of us might need the service.
Right. The center is licensed through the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services, the Aging Services Division. We're licensed for 51 people, and right now we're averaging about 36 per day. So we do have vacancies, especially in Edgecombe County, for daycare and for day health. So anyone who's interested in adult day services should give us a call here. Again, that number is 252-442-8363.
And you're open 5 days a week.
5 days a week from 7 a.m. in the morning to 5 p.m.
And what are the ages? We call it adult participants, but what does adult start with?
Our target group is 55 or older, but we will service any adult who is 18 years of age or older and suffers from a chronic illness.
And certainly the chronic illness would not be anything that would be contagious or anything. I mean, that's
no,
totally...
definitely not. That would be someone who has dementia or any other Alzheimer's. They may have high blood pressure, glaucoma, diabetes. They may be suffering from a stroke or wheelchair bound.
And a lot of people just can't be left alone.
Exactly. Especially those who are in the early stages of dementia, because they forget certain things, and it would be very easy for someone with dementia to maybe start preparing a meal, and in a split second they could forget that they even turned the stove on. So that within itself is an incident for something terrible to happen. And that's one reason why caregivers are worried when they're at work, you know, and if they don't have a service such as the Wright Center to assist them. We provide the service that they need so that when they are at work, they don't have to worry about what's going on at home with their loved ones, because they know that they're in a loving, nurturing environment and that they're being well taken care of.
I think that's so interesting that if on occasions when they don't come, they miss it because that's their routine, and this is where they develop another family for themselves. I want to hear about your volunteers, because we saw a retired postal worker. We also saw a retired educator.
Yes.
Volunteers are really very important to what you do, aren't
Exactly. Mr. Torian Williams, who is a retired educator, and Mr. and Mrs. Porter, who are two retired postal workers. They are three of our dedicated volunteers, and also Reverend Apellis Hart, who does the music program on Wednesday afternoons. We can count on them, you know, because they are regulars, and they come Miss Apellis Hart comes every week, and the Porters and Mr. Williams, they come every day, unless they have some other appointment that would keep them from attending the center. Mr. Williams will come twice a day, in the morning and in the afternoon. He helps with breakfast and he helps with the afternoon snack. And Mr. and Mrs. Porter come every day and help during the lunch hour. We're serving the participants their lunch and helping to clean the kitchen and that type of thing.
And people who are required to do some public service, you're the recipient of some of those volunteers too, aren't you?
Exactly. We also receive but we also receive volunteers from the Rocky Mount Housing Authority.
Who are required to do some volunteer work?
Yes, they're required to do volunteer hours to maintain their residence in the housing authority. And we also have volunteers from the court system if someone has to do community service hours and they have not been charged with a very serious or very vicious criminal act, then they can come and do their volunteer hours here or their community service hours here at the Wright Center. We also have Rocky Mount High. They have a program with us where seniors who are in a particular program at the school can do their volunteer hours here at the center as well.
Well, great. Well, we're wrapping up here, so I want to really tell people on April 23rd, Bill Leslie, anytime somebody gets a solicitation from you all for fundraising, I'm sure those dollars are so well spent here.
Yes, they are. They are. They are. One of our major expenditures is our transportation program. We would love to have a van or a couple of vans and a shuttle bus that we could operate ourselves, which would definitely cut down on the transportation expenses that we have every year. But right now we're having to contract it out with Tar River Transit, so that is one of our biggest financial burdens right now.
Well, as somebody who loves Rocky Mount, thank you so much for the 21, soon to be 22 years of the wonderful service that you all have provided for our residents. And thank you for hanging in there. You don't look like you've been here that long, but you're doing a great job.
And the center itself has been in operation for 26 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I left for a brief period and came back.
Oh, well, good. Well, welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you so much for letting us come and share in the wonderful work you're doing.
Thank you.
And thank you. See you next week.
Bye.